When did you realize your parents were bad at parenting? For me, it was the moment I watched my younger sister break down in tears at her high school graduation party, not from joy, but from the crushing weight of never being good enough. Our parents stood there, completely oblivious to the damage they'd spent 18 years creating. Growing up in the Harrison household meant living under a microscope. My parents, both successful professionals, had this twisted idea that love equaled pressure. Dad was a surgeon who expected surgical precision in everything we did, from how we folded our laundry to our test scores. Mom, a corporate lawyer, treated family dinners like depositions, cross-examining us about our daily failures. Why didn't you get an A plus instead of just an A? Was a common question in our house. They compared us constantly, to each other, to neighbors' kids, to their own achievements at our age. Nothing was ever enough. Sarah, my younger sister by 3 years, had always been the sensitive one, according to our parents, which in their vocabulary meant weak. While I learned to build walls around my emotions, she wore her heart on her sleeve. Every criticism hit her like a physical blow. I watched her transform from a bubbly child who drew butterflies and sang Disney songs into a teenager who flinched whenever our parents entered the room. She developed an eating disorder at 15, something our parents attributed to teenage drama rather than the impossible standards they'd set. When her grades slipped due to anxiety, Dad threatened to pull her out of art classes, the one thing that still made her smile. Mom would say things like, "You'll never succeed if you can't handle constructive criticism," never realizing that their constant nitpicking wasn't constructive at all. The breaking point came at Sarah's graduation party. She had worked incredibly hard to graduate with honors despite everything, but instead of celebrating her achievement, our parents spent the evening comparing her GPA to her valedictorian friends. Emma got into Harvard, Mom mentioned to every guest. Sarah's going to state school. When Sarah's art teacher praised a piece she'd created for the senior exhibition, Dad interrupted with, "Art won't pay the bills. She needs to focus on practical subjects." I watched my sister's face crumble as years of accumulated hurt finally overflowed. She ran to the bathroom, sobbing uncontrollably. Following her, I found her staring at herself in the mirror, repeating, "I'm such a disappointment. I'll never be what they want." That's when it hit me like a freight train. Our parents weren't strict or demanding. They were toxic. They had systematically destroyed my sister's self-esteem in the name of motivation. I saw my own struggles reflected in her tears, my anxiety attacks before every test, my inability to celebrate achievements, my constant fear of falling short. But seeing Sarah break down made me realize something crucial. We weren't the problem. They were. Standing in that bathroom, holding my sobbing sister, I made a decision. "Sarah," I said firmly, "you're not a disappointment. You're talented, kind, and strong enough to survive this family. But surviving isn't enough anymore. We deserve to thrive." I helped her wipe her tears, and we walked out together, not just from the bathroom, but metaphorically from our parents' impossible expectations. Today, Sarah is a successful graphic designer whose confidence grows each day, and I'm a therapist who helps other children of critical parents heal. We learned the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes the best thing you can do with your parents' legacy is to create a better one for yourself.